The city of Capernaum was on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee, and though it was a small city of only around 1,500 residents, it was one of the most important places during Jesus' ministry. Because many of Jesus' disciples actually came from the area, it quickly became his home base. In fact, in Mark chapter 2 verse 1, it's described as Jesus' city. Capernaum was the location of many early events in his ministry. He frequently taught in the synagogue, and he performed a lot of miracles there, including the healing of the nobleman's son, Simon's mother-in-law, a paralytic man, as well as a man suffering with mental illness. It was here, in Capernaum, that the fame of Jesus started to spread throughout the whole nation of Israel. Crowds of people gathered there to either see the miracles or to be healed themselves. But unfortunately, the people's fascination with Jesus' miracles in Capernaum stopped there. In John chapter 6, Jesus delivers a lengthy message in the local synagogue. He accused the people of following him simply because he was able to perform miracles of healing and providing them food. He warned them not to focus their minds on the natural food that he could miraculously provide, but to focus on the spiritual food, and by that he meant the words of life, which he was speaking to them. But sadly, many of the people had trouble with his teachings. They didn't understand the words that he spoke, and they didn't take the time to figure them out. We're told in John chapter 6 that many of his disciples turned back and no longer walked with him. In Luke chapter 10, Jesus pronounces judgment on Capernaum and several of the other nearby cities. He says that rather than being exalted to heaven, Capernaum would be thrust down into hell. And he says that because of all the cities that Jesus visited, Capernaum should have been the most faithful to him. They had the most reason to believe in him. But instead, it was quite the opposite. Once the miracles became normal and his teachings became harder, they started to resent him and to stop following him. So the city of Capernaum presents a powerful lesson. Just because it was the primary residence of Jesus during his ministry, and just because it was the location of many of his miracles and teachings, didn't mean that it was given a free pass. In fact, it was held to a higher standard because it had every reason to have repented, but it didn't. This city reminds us that our future at the judgment isn't determined by how close we were to other faithful people or how much time we spent at places like church. Instead, it's about how we allowed the teaching of Jesus to influence our lives in order that we become more like him.